Hi Year 10, we're going to look at another poem today. We're going to look at neutral tones. So I need you to turn to page 10 in your anthologies. So following the same process, can you create a mind map or bullet pointed list of any connotations or associations linking to the poem's title, Neutral Tones? Again, use the questions on the video to help you. Pause the video now and spend about 1 to 2 minutes completing this task. Okay, so hopefully you figured out that neutral is an adjective. Also, neutral suggests maybe no strong feelings either way. If you're in a debate, neutral would be in the middle. If you were going to link neutral to maybe a colour, it might be beige, cream, or grey. It's not vibrant, it's not in your face, it's not strong particularly. And then tones is a noun. You could have linked this to musical notes. You could also linked it to an attitude. We've looked at tones before when we've looked at in writing, like a sarcastic tone, a humorous tone, pessimistic or joyous. So if you put these two words together, neutral tones, maybe it suggests no strong feelings either way. This might link to another poem where the title suggests it's not strong feelings, so a complaint suggested more like a business transaction, but within the poem we realised that the poet actually had quite a lot of sadness towards the end of the relationship, and maybe this poem is going to be similar. So what's it all about? I've given you a glossary, a couple of words on there. I'd like you to read through the poem and write a brief summary of what you believe the poem is about. Okay, using the questions as always, read through and write a brief summary. So a couple of minutes on your summary. Pause the video now to complete this task. Okay, again, I've given you some images, so look at the images and reread the poem, and now write down what you think the poem is about. I'll just draw your attention to some of these images. I've got the colour palette down in the bottom right to show you like the colours of beige and cream, so that's like a neutral colour palette. That might link also to the setting. You've got the setting here of the pond and the trees and the white sun, so more of a winter's day, not a happy day. And the guy's face at the top, that smile, maybe it's a bit fake, maybe forced, or maybe bitter. So read through the poem again and write down what you now think the poem is about. What is it about? Okay then, so Neutral Tones explores the breakup of a relationship. It focuses on the sadness at the end and has a tone of tenderness mixed with deep regret and even bitterness. Bit of context for you here. There's 3 bullet points here. We know it's a pessimistic tone. We know it's about a breakup. We know it's not a happy poem. There isn't a great deal of context on this poem, so I've given you some here. I'd like you to make notes on the relevant contextual information. So pause this video now and complete this task. Okay, so analysis. Right now, I'd like you to work through the poem and figure out what inferences you might make about the poet and its speaker and find evidence to support your ideas. So you're using your subject terminology here. You've got a couple of questions down the bottom to help you out. So looking at imagery, rhyme scheme, and if the poem begins and ends with the same image. So the first stanza, we are in the setting of the pond and the sun and the tree, and where the breakup might have begun. Second stanza sort of looks at the past, tedious riddles, suggests silly arguments they might have had over and over again, like who's doing the washing up, who's taking out the bins, sort of domestic arguments maybe. The third one suggests things aren't going very well, maybe some fakeness here. And finally it ends with a similar beginning and the lesson that he's learned from this. Give you a bit of a hand on how to annotate. So to begin with, the first word, we, is an inclusive pronoun. It suggests that the couple were together at some point by the pond, but the past tense of the verb stood suggests they were together in the past and they're not together now. So pause this video and work through annotation on this poem. Spend about 10 minutes on this. Okay, I am going to talk you through some of the structure just to give you a clearer idea of how the structure relates to the feelings within this poem. So we're going to start with the rhyme scheme. Hopefully you figured out it's A, B, B, A. Now I'm going to talk you through a theory of a past pupil. This isn't on the internet, so that you can see it, that you're able to come up with your own personal response to the poems. It really doesn't have to be what somebody else has said online or an expert said. It really can be just your own idea. You are the expert when you are looking at the poem. So this pupil pointed out that the middle two lines, B and B, rhyme and they are together. So this could represent the couple together, maybe in the past. However, the start line in the stanza and the end line do rhyme, but they are split. They are split via these two rhyming lines in the middle. So this could show the split of the couple and represent the breakup. It also has a split at the beginning and the end of each stanza. So this pattern repeats itself in all four stanzas, suggesting maybe in each stanza the poet is going over the breakup each time. So 4 times within the whole poem. This is further reinforced with the idea that the whole poem is cyclical. So each stanza is cyclical and the whole poem is, because it begins and ends with the same image. You've got the pond and the sun and the ash tree at the beginning and the end, suggesting the poet keeps going over and over and over this idea in their mind. So if you link that back to the title of Neutral Tones, are they neutral? Are they okay with the situation if they're sat there running over and over and over this idea? I just wanted to draw your attention to the final stanza as well. Within here it becomes more apparent that this is a memory, and the rhythm is there is a rhythm throughout the poem, but it does break a lot, and this links again to bitterness. So on this bit, your face and the god cursed sun and a tree, the commas suggest a bitterness or anger. The poet does not have neutral feelings. And there's a lexical set of pain here. So keen can mean eagerness, but it also means finely sharpened. And rings is like when you wring somebody's neck or wring some material to get water out. So it's quite a violent action. And edged is sharp as well. So what is the poet's message here? Pause the video and take a couple of notes. If you didn't understand it all, do not worry. Write down what you did understand. I'm just trying to give you everything here. Again, you can check your understanding. I'll put this website in the description at the top, and it's similar to the website you used for the manhunt. So it'll take you through some of the imagery and some of the subject terminology on each of the lines. Okay, I'd like you to have a go at writing a response to this poem. So I'd like you to write a detailed paragraph explaining the response you've picked, or you could challenge yourself and write your own response. So there's 4 to pick with, and they're colour coded. Top 2 are labelled as easy. They're not easy, but they're just not as challenging. And the second 2 are more challenging, they're medium colour, because they're looking at structure or bigger ideas. Use the hint and use your success criteria. You could also use your handbook, which is in the Dropbox folder I sent you, or you might have picked it up from school. If not, it will be similar to the paragraph you worked on from a complaint, so you could use that paragraph to help you out as well as a model. So pause this video now and complete this task. Okay, so what a good one looks like. Here is a paragraph written for you, focusing on structure to give you a hand with that, how to write about structure, and the success criteria is fully labelled throughout. I'd like you to have a go at self-assessing your own paragraph, annotating where you have hit the success criteria. So pause the video and complete this task. Okay, and as we do in class, use your own identification to identify the area you need to improve and fix this part of the paragraph. So using purple pen if you've got one, so you can see the improvements. If you stuck, use some of my modelled paragraph here, or email me. I'll help you out. Send me your paragraph and I'll help you out. So pause the video and complete this task. And finally, your final thought, how convinced are you that the speaker is neutral in their feelings? I'd like you to email me your response. If you email me your response, I will know that you've understood this poem. Also, with your emailed responses, I am collating a revision resource with your personal responses. So the more of you that complete this, the more you can help everybody within the class.